This is a Vanilla Palm Films production.
It is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019. It's sunny here, 79 degrees on the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The wind is about 6 miles per hour as it sways our little wooden boat, maybe 30 steps from the beach. So I decided to start doing these podcasts for a couple of reasons. One, I'm simply a storyteller, and I love to tell stories. I've always had a lot to say, but I wanted to do it with pictures and other people's stories, but I also wanted to do it in an atmosphere that was calm and relaxing, and that was therapeutic. So each one we'll do will be done from a very peaceful place. Won't always be at the beach, but it'll be somewhere in which we can sort of tune out all of the other noise. I want to talk about a lot of different things. I want to get to know each other. We won't always agree, but the point is to actually have the conversation. Politics, food, movies, family, love, hate, art, sports, books, clothing, religion, death, just living life. On this day, some of the headlines include news about California Senator Kamala Harris going to drop out of the 2020 presidential election race. This past weekend was the classic Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn in college football. That's something very close to my heart. I grew up an Alabama fan, born in 1961. I grew up in a time when our football team was really the only thing we had to brag about. It all started with me and my father listening to games on the radio inside the car in the sweltering heat. My dad could never read, so I would read him the sporting section on Sunday. He loved Bear Bryant and even looked like him. And my family is mostly gone now, so these Alabama football games are a way to bring us back together at least once a year. So this was a big weekend, a big game. Tonight, the college football playoff committee will vote on the new top four. Unfortunately, my team won't be there because of the loss to Auburn. You know, this has been a strange year for the football team. Tua, who is probably the greatest quarterback to ever play at Alabama, suffered a season-ending injury, and that's really sad, not only for him personally, but it would appear the team really centered around him. You know, there's a lot of anti-Alabama fans out there who have been waiting for this day a long time when Alabama would be left out of the playoff. I get it, I do. It's fatigue, and it's made me question whether or not Nick Saban, who is probably the greatest coach of all time, perhaps has peaked. History would tell us that most great athletes, and whether they be coaches or players or really anybody that's any good at anything, they usually have one more moment left in them. I would anticipate Saban would be no different, perhaps next year or the year after that. But it's just a confirmation that all things do come to an end, and this dynasty will be no different. I probably should wait until later in the podcast to talk about politics, but it really is in the forefront of all of our minds right now. Now, I must tell you that I am a lifelong Democrat, but for the first time since I was 18, I voted Republican. I voted for Donald Trump. But I'm also big enough to tell you that I wish I had my vote back. I made a huge mistake. I fell into let's clean up the swamp. Let's clean Washington up. But this guy's crazy. And it blows my mind. I have some really, really smart people in my family that I work with, that I admire and respect, but it blows my mind why they continue to support this guy when the evidence is overwhelming. this guy's a crook. This guy only cares about himself in so many ways. He can't be trusted. Now, you could easily say there's almost no way to try to defend this guy. And these smart friends of mine, I don't know if they just can't admit the fact that they were wrong. I don't know what it is that makes them continue to defend him. And as I watch the Republican Party, I'm very sad that even though I've been a Democrat all my life, there was always a mutual respect. Most of the time. There were some great Republican presidents, you have to admit. And why anyone whose career was dependent upon working for the people that they represent would put their whole reputation on the line for some guy that at the most is only going to be around 4 more years. But why do it? Why risk your own reputation and moral values? And really just the difference between right and wrong. Why put that all on the line for someone who does not care about them, who would turn on them in a heartbeat? I just don't get it. I'm baffled. It's okay to have voted for the wrong person. There's no sin in that. But to defend a guy like this makes no sense at all. And you'd be surprised, or at least I was surprised, that when I would question my friends about why they support him, or we start to talk about the actual evidence, many of them, they don't know the details. They haven't taken the time to find out. Yet they stand beside him. You can't call that ignorance, but I do think you have an obligation to know what it is you're talking about if you're going to have an opinion on someone. I have actually talked to close friends who could not tell me the very reason he's being impeached. Maybe they're just tired, worn out, don't care. It's all more of the same. I'm not sure, but sometimes you gotta take a stand. And I'm very, very concerned that we are one step away from not fully recognizing our democracy anymore. We've come to take it for granted. It's almost absurd to think about having a dictator in America, but that is what this guy really wants. He wants to be a dictator. It will be interesting to see how the remaining days of the impeachment hearing process goes and what the outcome is going to be. I doubt very seriously that we will remove this president. So the only thing I can hope for is we do it at the ballot box. So who do we choose? Well, Trump has obviously put us in a position where there are no Republicans to vote for. I truly believe it is time and long overdue for a woman to be a president of the United States. Other places in the world have had female leaders. It's time that we do. I'm going to narrow my choices down between the females that are running. Because the one thing that made me vote for Trump was to get rid of the old and bring in a new way. Well, if that's the way I feel, then I can't consciously vote for one of the old guys that are running. That would be more of the same, even though I think they're probably decent men. I did have an idea, though. I think if I were the front runner or the chosen one for the Democratic Party, wouldn't it be a powerful statement to include all of the other candidates within a new administration? Wow, there's no way they could lose. And they all have something to contribute. I think it would be unheard of and a very cool and powerful statement. There's other life going on out there today. Doesn't have anything to do with politics. My oldest daughter got married last month, so she is starting her new life. I'm very proud of her and the woman that she has become. I always wanted a daughter. I didn't care how I got it or who it was with. I'm just one of those guys who felt I could best nurture a little girl. I wanted her to be a nurse anesthetist, but she didn't like the idea of becoming a nurse first. Blood freaks her out, things like that. So she became a cosmetologist. And at the time, I had no idea how much money cosmetologists can make. Oh my God, guys. I've actually met a few in Houston that told me they've made up to $200,000 a year cutting hair. I was blown away by that. So go for it, Carly. My youngest daughter, Anna, is in school at the University of Montevallo in Alabama. It is an art school, and right now her current form of media to work in is sculpting, and she's very, very good. She sort of became the artistic one, I could totally see her work becoming very valuable one day. And that's another thing that blew me away. When I was in Maui, I went to a couple of art galleries and I couldn't believe what the art was selling for. One piece can go for $100,000. I will tell you that Anna is struggling. We are one of those families that have had to face some harsh realities about her struggles with her identity. She is a transgender. She has not gone through any hormonal therapies yet, even though I think that's the way she is leaning. It's been very hard for her, obviously, but this is a subject that transcends everyone in the family. This is a very difficult issue for a lot of families this day and time. And the only thing I can say is you have to be supportive, yet cautious, because these are life-changing, physically altering possibilities and consequences. I'm still learning as I go. I'm older, so these concepts are strange and new, but I love my daughter, so I'm trying. This is actually the first time that I am mentioning this publicly, because it's time to acknowledge her fears and her struggles, and my hope that she finds the right path. So I am behind you. Their mother is watching the last days of her father's life. He's struggling with stage 4 lung and liver cancer. He and I had a somewhat rocky beginning, but we both learned to like each other, and I'm glad. A priest once told me that a son-in-law always makes a better son. And it makes sense. And by nature, most men gravitate toward the wife's family. I don't know what to say to her during this time. I know that when I went through it, having lost both of my parents and 3 siblings, I used to somewhat resent words of advice because, who's someone else to tell you what you're thinking and what you're feeling? So right now, I'm just hopeful that she finds some peace in what is inevitable. As the line in the movie says, you can't stop what's coming. Now some happy news, the best news of the day, in my opinion. There's a Denny's waitress in Galveston, Texas, who walked over 4 hours to and from work every single day. Well, thanks to a couple who sat in her section for breakfast, she no longer has to walk to work. The couple who frequently dined at the restaurant heard about Adriana Edwards after she waited on them in the Denny's for breakfast. They left the restaurant after eating and then returned a few hours later with the keys to a 2011 Nissan Sentra. They went and bought it at a local car dealership. The only thing that the couple asked in return was that someday she pay it forward, and the waitress said she intends to do just that. And here's one more. Richard Sherman, you may have heard of him. He plays for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, he walked into a middle school in Santa Clara, California, and he handed the principal a personal check for $7,491.27 to clear the cafeteria's entire outstanding bill. And you know what? This is not the first time that Sherman has paid to clear lunch debt. Last month, he wrote a check for over $20,000 to the public schools in Tacoma, Washington. Now that's just something you don't hear of every day. I won't promise that these podcasts will be chipper and happy and sound like somebody on the radio, or that's just not who I am. Yes, I will get angry and heated and hyper, but not today. I hope you will take this journey with me. The YouTube versions will include our beautiful environment in which we're filming, and hopefully on the audio podcast you can hear the beautiful landscape behind my voice. Make today count.
This is a Vanilla Palm Films production.